morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
Right.
Yes.
Fiti kabisa.
Niko salama.
Now, for the benefit of my viewer, I think your camera is this one. Who exactly is Mr. Emanuel Maweu now? To start from there.
Emanuel Maweu is a businessman. That's number one. The second part, he's a lawyer. He's also an arbitrator. And he's also ventured into the real estate business. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. How are things on ground? How are the things like in terms of real estate management and that sector in itself?
Of course, one statement Kenyans like to use kwa ground vitu ni tofauti. So, on the ground there's things that you learn. Probably you think that you know, but later during now the process, you find that everything changes. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. But you're moving on.
Yes, we keep going, we keep pushing. The slogan is never give up.
Right.
Yeah.
Do we see returns?
Yes, eventually. If it depends with especially thinking that you want to enter into a real estate business on short term is not a good idea. But if you are for the long term, then you are in the right business or the right investment. Yeah.
Of course. I'm trying to imagine a situation where we've had COVID-19 and different sectors, particularly those who are in business, have been saying that they are facing quite a hard time in a time like this. Is that the case with real estate management?
Yes, and no one had the script of COVID-19, so it's it's changed the way of business and also how people view their investments. And people who thought short-term investments in real estate can work, right now they are in deep trouble because there's few or no returns at all, and they feel that probably real estate is not the good business, but in the real sense, it is a good business.
Right.
Yeah.
Reason being?
Reason being that you don't have to put your hope for the short term, because if you project something like right now, it started coming up back again, because during the COVID time, there was even a time that the offices, even the government told us that in your office, reduce the number of people. You see now that led to low income returns in terms of real estate.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. Right. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that is Mr. Emanuel Maweu, someone who understands things and issues around the real estate management. He is quite vast in terms of managing different real estates here in Mombasa County. So you can be sure that we have found somebody who can help you out in terms of if you want to venture into real estate. The biggest question, Juan Emanuel, here is buying or building a house. Which one would you go for?
Actually, that's not the biggest question. The biggest question is why?
Why in the two?
No. Why do you want to venture into real estate?
Right.
Is it because you are prestigious? Is it because you are seeking status? Is it because you want to use a property for commercial use? Do you want to live in the property? So the moment you answer the question why I want that, it's when now you can now go to the next step of either do I buy or do I build?
Right.
Yes.
We've had people who have ventured into real estate, and the kind of testimonies we get them to hear, they will tell you it's quite hectic and very hard, and it's quite complex in terms of venturing into this kind of business here. Do you feel like people enter into real estate with the wrong reasons?
I think yes. And at times it's just pressure, because probably a clique of their friends have properties and they now feel that it's also time to get a property. But one thing, real estate is expensive. As much as it's a sure investment, it's expensive. I can't say that you enter into real estate if you are not planned, you are not well planned in terms of finances. You have to have an income generating job or business that will help you where the finances are low, so that you may generate again by inputting through the real estate.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, supposing, when Emmanuel, right now, I want to venture into real estate, you know, and here you're talking about having the right reasons for it. Which are these right reasons now? What can make me now tell me that this reason that I'm going forward to, and I want to venture due to this and this reason, is better place that I'll venture into it and achieve my goals and achieve my mission and achieve those reasons as to why I was taking to venture into the real estate here.
Let me give you an example. In a family setup of a father, mother, and probably 2 children, or in a family setup of a young man, you know in the near future you'll have a family, right?
True.
And they will need a shelter. Either it's back in the village or here in town. So you look first, the long term. In 10 years, I have to have a house. So how many people can it accommodate? Because if you make a decision as a bachelor, you'll get a 1-bedroom or a studio apartment, right?
Right.
But now, for a family setup of 2 to 3 people, they'll go forward to get probably a higher, or a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom. So the main question is, why do you want the property? Do you want to live in it? Do you want it to bring money for you?
Right.
Now, if the answer is, I want to live in my house. Now, that is very customized because it's personalized into one particular individual. But now, the moment you say, I want it for commercial use, now there are aspects you have to consider and put a priority on them so that it may not hinder your goal or objective for you getting the house or the property.
Very true.
Yeah.
So you're telling me, first and foremost, I should sit down, so search myself, define what I want to do with the house, whatever I need, and the reasons as to why I'm supposed to have it before I even now think of whether to buy or build.
Yes.
By so doing, you'll have set the foundation right.
Yes. Now that's a start where you will have the reasons of going forward, and some decisions, if you have the right reasons, some decisions won't be hard to make. It will be easy because you already have a foundation of the reason why you are making or you are building or you are buying the property. Yes.
Right. Very true. Now, we are done with looking at the reason as to why I want to venture into real estate. And there comes now the second question that you previously told me is not the first one, it's supposed to be the second. Between buying and building, let's start from there now. Which one do you think it's more viable here?
For me to make it simpler on whoever is listening to us, let's break the two. What is involved in buying and what is involved in building.
Right.
At least as we continue the conversation, somebody can at least understand. First, the buying part, let's go with that. In buying, all you need is identifying a property, doing the search, making sure that the property has the right documentation, it doesn't have any encumbrances in terms of court cases or loans and all that. And finally, making sure that the agent or the owner, because one thing people don't know, whenever you are going to buy a house, ask for the reason why the owner is selling it. That's like
does it matter?
Yes, it always matters. It always matters.
Why does it matter?
Because different reasons might cause you not even to invest in the property that you're thinking is best for you. Yes, because let's say if an owner is selling a property just because they have a dispute, a family dispute, can you see that? You may buy the property and later all the family agrees that we are not selling, and and you have already paid for them or even given an installment for the property. That means you lose. Another reason is it transferred? For example, a parent, a mother and a father, they're alive, they buy a property, then they come and pass away. So the ones who are left are the kins, right? The children or whoever the parents had instructed to be the kins or the successors of the house. So when the property hasn't been, the succession process hasn't been done, it will be hard to buy that property, because any other person keen to the deceased might show up and say, this property is mine. So you have also to follow those channels and ask that key question: why are you selling? Are you trying to go make another investment option? It will also help you to know why. And as you proceed, you'll have concrete ground on you buying the property.
Right.
Yeah.
Talking about buying, before we even get about to the building aspect, you've mentioned a thing that pertains to documentation, and it has been quite a problem. Especially, we've had a few cases here and there that talks about how there has over breach of contracts and what have you. How is it of a concern to you, those who are handling this matter about real estate here, with the issue about paperwork and documentation?
First,
those who are supposed to be coming to buy, we don't understand this stuff.
I'll encourage anyone who's trying to enter into the real estate business to be knowledgeable. You can't enter into a business without gaining knowledge, even if it's a bit. Or if you can't gain the knowledge, use the right professionals for the job. In terms of, if you get a professional who, probably an agent or a developer, you have also to look at their credibility. Have they done previous jobs? How is their credibility? How is their credibility in the market? So with that answered, you'll be able to know that this individual or this developer, with whatever happens in front, I can go and sue them particularly. Yeah.
Right. When you mention about finding the agent and the developer here, people are normally afraid of such agents and developers simply because they feel, and it's out there, public domain, that most of them kind of play cards with the proprietor of the building maybe, and the customer here,
Now, that's where the credibility comes. When Shadrach, you come to me, and I help you get a property in the right channels, the next day you'll refer your friend or anybody who asks you about a property, you'll refer them to me, right? Because you went through a credible process and you found that, yes, this is true, and at the end of process, I've gained what I wanted through him. So now look for credible guys, and even if a friend refers you to an agent or a property manager out there, be keen to even do research on them. Go look at their reviews in the social media, because at times reviews also you can find people commenting,
right.
Yeah, the negatives of the person or the property manager. Yeah.
Right. And inside buying, apart from documentation thing and the credibility of the developer, what else do I need to look into?
Most importantly, location.
What about location?
The moment somebody tells you that, or you want to buy a property and you have identified, or your specifics have been met, first go identify that property. Know where it is, involve a search with the government. Look for a surveyor who will come and really map the same size, because I might bring you here and tell you that this is the property I'm selling. In real sense, it's probably half. Through the documentation, it's half what you're showing me. So you have to also involve the surveyor who will come and map out everything, and also a valuer.
Right.
Okay, that's why I'm saying real estate is expensive, because I've mentioned several professions, and those are just to make you not lose your money at the long run and help you identify the right property that will suit you. Yes.
When you mention here that you should find a surveyor to come and do some bit of surveying on that whatever property you want to buy, don't you feel like it's quite an expensive process to go about with?
Yes, it is, because those are ways of making sure that there is no mistake done. It's like a prevention way. The expense, you can outgo it, But just for you to be sure of what you're getting, make sure you do the necessary with the professions.
If at all any of these steps that you're mentioning here is skipped or somebody doesn't go through it, does it have any detrimental effect in your real estate?
Yes, you might be sued. Probably because you bought a property that isn't. I give you different documentation. Probably the documentation I'm giving you, the property isn't even here. It's on a different location, but I'm showing you a location that isn't allocated for that property. You get me now?
Right.
Yeah.
So the biggest effect that can arise is from the court side there.
Yes.
And speaking about buying, there is somewhere I read that says that if you're not keen enough, you can be buying a problem from the person at which the owner of the property.
That's why you look for the reasons. Why are you selling?
Right.
Is the sewer system okay? Is there electricity? Because other people are selling houses, but probably they have a very big bill with the electrical company. So you go buy the house very quickly. Then later you realize he has almost 200,000 of debt with the KPLC. So those are some of the things. Even you have to check even the land rates. If somebody has told you that they're selling a property and you are a buyer, you have to check the land rates. Are they updated? Are they up to date? Because if you want to do any development, you have to make sure the land rates are fully paid. So those are some of the key issues. And as a buyer, you might just be keen on me getting a property, but not keen on the various issues that are supposed to be cross-checked before you buy. Yeah.
But from whatever you're talking, Emanuel here, do you want to tell me like it's wise for you to just start your own, build yours, rather than going through all those check? You know, you need quite a list of things that you're supposed to be checking there.
Actually, for the buying is lesser checking than the building. Yeah, because the buying you've already it's property on a land, but for building you have to identify a plot
first and foremost.
Yes. You have to buy the plot. You have to transfer the plot. So it will take time rather than buying. And also, there are many people involved in building. You will go for the engineers and all that, so that you may make sure that your building comes up strong. But buying is just identifying the owner, making sure all the documents are right, and you purchasing. So it's also preference. And also, before you make any other decision, are you capable of, what's your financial capability? Is your financial capability allowing you to buy? Is your financial capability allowing you to build? So at least as you evaluate yourself, you have to reason. Like if you have $1 million shillings, that will just get you a plot. You can't build with that. Yeah.
Very good. There's this question of, how do we also get to identify that this buyer is kind of serious enough and willing to venture into real estate? You know, it's not everyone who just got money needs to venture into real estate. How do we get you as real estate agents and people who are working in that field? How do we get to identify a buyer exactly?
Okay, there are a few processes. If first, it's usually an inquiry, because everybody is usually serious when looking for a property. They are telling you, I'm even a serious buyer, I have money in the bank, I want to buy right now. But as you engage them into questions of, first, what do you want? Is it a townhouse? Is it what's your budget? And also, where do you want it? So it's location, it's the budget, it's also the size and how the design of the house looks. Yeah. So as we go by, I'll produce maybe 3 options. We go for a site visit, go check the houses. Now, later, they'll give me their offer. That's when you realize now this is a serious buyer. After then, you now produce the documents and give them the certified documents to search and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, in the I know in your experience, and the kind of people you've met who are seeking to venture into real estate, which is the biggest mistake that most buyers do, apart from not following the procedure here?
Assume
What exactly?
Assume that they are representatives, because not always buyers are at the forefront of the decisions. All they do is probably make the overall decision. But now they are the people who go to do the search, who now the follow-ups. If you assume that an individual will do their work right just because you've paid them, that's where people go wrong. You also have to do your own due diligence. Apart from now giving an individual the authority, you also have to go back and do it by your own self. Not because you don't believe the individual, but it's a way of cross-checking if they are both true information.
Right, very true. And when you're talking about buying, there are so much details that are coming out here. But then we've had cases of those who are seeking to buy now, the investor is seeking to buy, feels like if I go through this agent, the process is so, hectic, right, compared to these agents. Do you feel also there is supposed to be some kind of way that we streamline these all processes and have a clean procedure in buying?
Okay, when you enter into real estate, first, information might be expensive for you, because if you don't know any property being sold, you have to go to an agent or somebody who has a portfolio of properties that is selling. So you as a buyer, if you will have to take the responsibility of doing the agent's job, it might even be more hectic and you might lose a lot. But now, going for reputable agents and real estate developers, that helps you to know that you are in the right place to get served well. Yes.
Very true. And now that brings me to this question about the real estate agents themselves now. There has been a lot of complaints, particularly from the agents, and you find investors also having to complain about some dubious means at which these agents are working. Does that even become part of your concern that you, in line of whatever you're doing, you also guard your reputation as an agency?
Yes, because buying and selling of properties is on a point of trust, because I can't do business of real estate with you if I don't trust you. That's how the client's view is. They have to trust somebody so that they might do the transaction. So if there's a reputable guy or a reputable company, because you just don't look for a guy, you also look for a company, that 2 or 3 or 4 even people can say and confirm that yes, this is true, this guy has helped me and I have seen the fruits of what he can do. So you also have to go and indulge other buyers, like, who helped you? How can I also be helped? So that at least when you make a decision, you are fully satisfied that there is no dubious ways going on forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever you're talking about here, it seems to be kind of much information that mostly buyers do not have.
Yes.
Where exactly can they get this kind of information, Maybe somebody might be willing to want to venture into real estate, but when listening to us, it says that it takes a lot and I need to find this whole information,
It's a free world right now, and you can use the internet as a basis of getting information, because the information put there is reliable.
Right.
In that, also Google has done its own ways of, but now you also have to do some extra. Like, if it's a company selling a property, go to their offices. Do they have a physical location? Because if they get lost, where will you find them? So you have to know where they are physically located, so that at least if anything goes wrong, you can go back to that office and say, this is where I was when everything went wrong. So at least there's somebody who can be accountable for what has happened. Yeah.
Right. Very true. And We will be coming back to look at the qualities of a good real estate agent here, because we've seen there are quite a lot right now, and we also feel that there is need for the government to try and bring sanity and regulate some of these agencies that, of course, are working with real estate to try and stop the kind of information we get out there of conmanship, dubious means and what have you. That will be coming to look at it. But talking about building now, you are telling me it's quite even hectier than even buying. How is it so?
So in building, because the thought of building, first, you either have a land or you don't have a land. And if you don't have a land, it's building. Building is easier when you have a land. But if you don't have a land, it's kind of hectic, because it's like you're starting from scratch.
Right.
Yeah. So the best basis of now thinking about building is finding a property first, and making sure that you have gone through the whole process, because that's why building, I say it's hectic, because if you now, like right now, for you to get a property and identify one, it might even take you 6 months. So what is the end goal as per you? Have you planned yourself in 2 years I'll have a home? Then the first few months you start by looking for a property. After you identify a property, follow the whole due process, buy it, transfer it,
right,
and then after it's now yours, you can now think of building. Let me tell you what is what is involved during building. In Mombasa, even before you start digging your property, you'll have spent close to even 100,000. Before.
Spent it on what exactly?
First, it will be the architectural designs. You'll bring a structural engineer to tell you about the size of metals and all that. Later, you'll need also, the first is architectural, the next is structural. The other is also, you'll involve a quantity surveyor. A person who will come and tell you that to build the 2-bedroom house, it will need a number of stones, a number of lorries of sand, cement, all that. He'll give you a quotation and give you a price. And now, the last bit is approvals. And for the municipal, that's where now is even hectier, because they will take time. Our government processes. They'll take time, you'll consume a lot of time.
Right.
By the end of the day, you'll get what you need, but it would have taken you a lot of time, rather than just settling and buying a building. Yeah.
Don't you think, comparing the two, between buying and building, it seems to me like, building is slow but sure?
True. True. And also, it falls to your preference, because if you go to the architectural design, you tell him, I want a house that is like this and this and this. He will make sure he draws a design that fits. Probably if you are buying, if the property is 1 acre,
right,
and the house is lying on just a small portion of that acre, but if you are building, you can be able to utilize the whole space that you have on your land. Yeah.
Right. And talking about building in itself now, do you feel like people need to have like these agencies? Like, for instance, now, you find somebody tell you, I have got my own lawyer. Like, if something happens to me, I access my lawyer. Do you also see like, if you want to venture into real businesses, so if you're somebody who does businesses, you also need to have people or somebody or an agency which works for you in trying to advise you on how you go about things?
Yes, you should also be versed with those people. Don't have one person, because probably that one person one day can decide and fail you. Or in the imminent situation that they are not there, you'll be troubled. So also, as you grow in the business or in the investment sector, that in the real estate that is, you will learn more as time goes by. The first time purchaser of a property is usually the one who's at the green part. They don't know anything. But as you go your first, your second, your third house, you'll gain that experience and knowledge so that at least it may help you in the near future in buying other properties.
Right.
Yeah.
Very true. Now the fact that you say we need to have real agents who quite a number of them, not relying on one, that tells me that there's something I need also to look into finding that real agent. And the qualities now of a good real estate agent. Let's start from there.
Reputable. Reputation. Because reputation is gathered through experience. Right now, you can go outside there and ask anyone, do you know anyone? They'll give you somebody because they have past experience or they have indulged in business with them for them to refer you to them. That's why most real estate businesses happen through referrals. Because if I refer you to somebody, I'm so certain that this guy will help you in what you need. Yes.
Reputation key, number one.
Reputation. And in reputation, it's built with trustworthiness, honesty. Like, let me give an example. During selling a property, you can, the moment you go to a seller, they will tell you, I want to sell this property at a certain price. And a corrupt agent will almost double that price so that they can feed more, even more than the owner. But now, a reputable, yes, but a reputable real estate agent will prefer using the particular price that the owner gave so that they may get a commission out of it. Yes, because if you get out of the owner, you can even decide and make the two sit and negotiate, but at the end of the day, there's a percentage set for you.
Right.
Rather than putting over and above on values that probably it will even take longer to sell the property. Yeah.
Does it matter from the side of the buyer or the proprietor himself, talking about issue of overpricing here?
Some will allow you, but some will not. But now, that instance may delay the selling of your property. You may wonder why has my property taken long? Because the values that are put over there is exaggerated because the commission of the agent wants to take a higher chunk of it. Yeah.
Right. Are you attributing whatever you've explained here to the reason as why we see most of the properties that have been quite on sale for quite a number of months and years now that have not gotten a buyer still?
Yes, because people try to invade, especially agents, and who are not reputable. They're just trying to get handsmith at the end of the day, because some people just think about the amount at the end of the day. So whether you're buying something that is there, or you're buying something that is not, I don't care, I just want my money. But now there are those who are trying to do good and help a client get a property that suits them. Yeah.
Right. Talking about these real agents now, real estate agents, like I mentioned earlier, there is quite a lot, now good number of them out there. And the question that most buyers and most people are asking is that it seems that much focus has not been given in terms of regulating them. That's why we see kind of some of these real estate agents have quite a bad reputation in our society and the places we live in.
Actually, the market is regulated. There are laws that have been put in place that guide each and every agent.
Are they applicable on ground?
On ground, implementation is what is now the problem. The laws are there, but now the implementation of the laws by the government institutions and all that is not there. Yes. So I can't really say it's part of the people on the ground. They have just seen maybe a loophole. But now, with time, when the implementation starts, there will be so much eradication of the fake and false agents. Yeah.
Do you see a problem at which I'm deriving my point to, and how do you feel it should be addressed?
There are many ways that have been put in place to mitigate such issues. That's why there are registered companies that do real estate. So if you go to a company, it's better and well said rather than just choosing to choose anyone in the midst of nowhere. Yeah, because you'll have to go back to the company in case there is a problem or there is an issue you want to address. Yes, because if an individual comes and says, I'm selling you this, and then tomorrow something goes wrong and they go missing and they switch off their phone, it's not like they are credible enough for you to follow up on them. They can just switch off the phone and that's it. But if it's a company, there are directors behind the company. They can be sued so that at least you can get in return of what you lost. Yeah.
Very true.
Yes.
In a nutshell, if I'm supposed to join or rather venture into real estate sector and I need to avoid to come out of it with regrets, where do I start from?
First, before you even start going outside your house, there is the internet. So there are platforms that have been set or websites that have been set just for people who are selling and buying properties. In Kenya, there are a few of which you can just go look at a list of reputable companies of real estate. There you can as well get the information where how you can avoid being conned or losing your money during the process. At least it may guide you going forward, instead of just thinking that you know and you can just invest without knowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think from your own experience, have you heard of people who have ventured into the real estate and have come out with so much regrets, and how do you even advise them to?
Okay, yes, of which there are situations that we have faced, and through following up and going through the processes and making sure also that you do your part, because at times a simple issue might make a buyer give up just because there have been a complication. But getting a property, you have also to be following up on each and every process, even if there is something that has gone wrong and probably it wasn't shared during the sale. As you follow up, at the long run, you can get back your returns.
Right.
Yeah.
Very true. Right. Now, if someone wants to venture into the real estate and with whatever thing you've mentioned here, quite vast, do you feel like also they need to some kind of have that thing of following up you're mentioning, and also not leaving that to the agents themselves to do it?
Yes, because one thing I know, that anyone who wants to buy one house will want to buy the second, will want to buy the third, will want to buy the fourth, and even own a fleet of houses or an estate. So as you grow, there are mistakes you might make, or probably our listener, there are mistakes they have already made, but now keep learning the processes and go to our government institutions where they have all the, even the amounts and all that. They can at least provide and give you the layout of what you need to do. Yeah.
Right. We have so many big names that have ventured into real estate, and there are people who are doing good out there. What do you think makes them to greater heights? What has made them to get to where they've gotten to?
I think it's capturing opportunities when they are ready, because at times you find properties being sold at a cheaper price just because the owner is distressed. They need money, and all they have is a property. You can as well, if you have real reputable guys on the forefront, they usually have the first-hand information about properties that probably the owner is being distressed, they need money, and because most investors, they can't do that. They identify a property, probably somebody is distressed, they acquire it, even at a lower price, and then if the valuation is done, the property won't change the value just because you bought it at a lower price. The value will still remain at its price. So he would have got a return on the investment just because they had a good and a reputable guy who had all the information at hand and at the particular time in hand.
Right.
Yeah.
Very true. Suppose somebody has listened to you so keenly and is willing also to kind of get this information that you're giving us, some kind of assistance in terms of consultancy here on real estate management. How can they get you?
Okay, for me, I work under a company called Maswabe Solutions East Africa Limited, of which we are in town, Baroda, and we are at first floor, Jiwaji building, door number 2, or otherwise you can call us through our numbers, that is 0710 379 418. Let me pardon it, 0710 379 418, and you can at least engage us on what you need and what you require so that we may help you going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Very true. And I will not forget to ask you about where you foresee maybe with the real estate sector here in the country, particularly Coast and Mombasa in itself. Do you see like there is somewhere we are headed to?
Yes, because picture this, each and every day people are being born, right? As they age, they will need places to stay. True? So that's a business that will never end.
But when we walk around Mombasa town, we see house to buy, for sale, and they're not getting buyers, Does that worry you also?
Yes, it worries, but that doesn't mean there won't be light outside of the tunnel, because picture this. Right now, the infrastructure in Mombasa is heavy. Just outside here, we're having twin lanes and all that. All this is to attract real estate investments. It's not that they are stale, but not completely done.
Right.
Yeah.
So you kind of see a future going forward?
Yes.
Very true. Right, thank you so much for your time. Now, believe you me, that is what we were discussing.